Well, hey there YouTube. Today what we're going to be doing is making a pillow. This pillow here is my wife's hammock pillow, and the dog got a hold of it when she was a puppy. That's probably been 2 years ago anyway. And even with a hole in it, with this sort of stuffing that's inside of there, uh, the pillow is completely usable. Like Liz used it for the last 2 years, even with a hole in it. So unlike a down pillow or something where you just lose it all if you get a hole in it, this stuff is low tech enough that it's still a pillow even if it sustains some damage. You can see this pillow was made in November of 13, as was this one. Liz has a good amount, a normal probably camper's amount of sleep on this. And mine has hundreds of nights of sleep in it because I sleep in the hammock probably half time. So with all those nights of sleep in it, it is getting a little compressed. But that's 4 years of half-time use. So it's hard to be disappointed with the performance, and in fact I'm not disappointed with it at all. It's still all the pillow I need for every night's sleep. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is making one of these dudes. They are warm on one side, cool on the other, and that's what we're up to. The plan here is to take some of this, it's not exactly fleece, but it's super fleecy, plushy something or other. And this is Supplex nylon, but any nylon will do. In fact, I've even got some of the nylon I made a hammock out of. I might make another pillow out of some of the leftovers from that. So anyway, that's the fabric I'm going to be using. I've also made this out of just normal fleece, and it's also very good. And you could probably make the whole thing out of fleece, or you could probably make the whole thing out of nylon. But I like to have a warm side and a cool side. To make our pattern, you want to take a sheet of paper, plain sheet of 8.5 by 11, and you want to fold it exactly in half to the best of your ability here. So get that edges lined right up. Oops. And we'll stand it on edge like that. And on this edge, we're going to measure in 1/2 inch, or down, or however you want to, whatever you want to call it. Cut off this guy. So there's 1/2 inch. On this edge, we're going to measure in 1 3/4 inches. And then we're just going to connect these two lines. And we're going to cut along the line. Don't need that. When you open it up, you've got a pattern, or a half pattern. When we get the fabrics out, the short side, we're going to fold the fabric in half, put the short side on the fold and the long side towards the open end, and then you cut 3 sides, and when you open it up, you've got a nice size pillow. So you can see I just took my fabric and sort of laid it out till I got to an edge. It's been cut into a number of times, and I've folded it up on itself here. Like I said, you put the short side of your pattern on the fold, and we're just going to cut around these 3 sides. Here is the pattern now. And you see we've got sort of the bow tie, dog bone, whatever you want to call the thing, is the pattern already. Now when we cut out the pattern for the fleece part of this, what I'm actually going to do, I found that that fleece is so stretchy that it's actually a little easier to just cut a rectangle over larger than you need, and then you sew along your seam allowance and whatnot, and then trim off the excess when you're done. So I'm probably just gonna whack out an area way bigger than I need, and then when I do after I sew around this thing, then I'll just trim up the excess. And the next thing we're going to do is decide which side is the right side and the wrong side. This supplex, I don't think you can do it wrong, but I will randomly decide which side is the right side. On the owl fabric, the less, that's a little blurry looking the owls are, that's the wrong side. So we're going to sew these dudes. I want this side to be the outside, so that's, we're going to do right side to right side. We've got it laid out, and you know, we're still inside out. I've pinned the two pieces of fabric together. This pin here is where I'm going to start. We'll go down all the way around it, and I'm going to stop at this pin so that we leave this gap that will, after we've sewn it and trimmed the fleece fabric, we'll turn it inside out and we'll stuff it. So do a little back stitching here at the front, and then moving on from there. So now we've gone all the way around, and we're back to where we've got that gap, and I did a tack stitch there, where, you know, a start stop deal, and we can pull her out now and trim around the outside of it. Roughly a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around on it, and we can trim that back if you want to before you turn it inside out. I kind of swooped on this one a little bit and got a little wonky there. But this one was a definite come in, pivot, and go in the other direction. That's the best, the better of the two ways you could do that. Now, the only thing I might mention is I sort of cut back my seam allowance to around 1/4 inch everywhere else. But on this end here where we're going to do the stuffing, we're eventually going to have to fold this in. Oops, I'm trying to drive the camera at the same time. You're going to fold that in like that, so you kind of want to leave the full 1/2 inch on this side. Just make life a little easier in the future. So this is just some basic polyester fiber fill. You get at Joann's or probably Walmart or anywhere else. It's not high tech, but it works good. All we're going to do now is take little bits of this and stuff it in there. It works good if you use a this is a piece of bamboo, but a wooden spoon or anything you got that you're going to want to push it into the corners with. And then once we get it full up, I think I liked when all is said and done, this thing is going to weigh about 4 ounces, I think, maybe 5 ounces. So as I get closer to having it as full as I like, I'll throw it on the digital scale and see what it weighs out at and adjust my fill accordingly. But fill is definitely a personal preference sort of thing, so if you want more in it, put more in it. If you want less in it, obviously less is the way to go. If I stand this up on the thing, 3.94, so it's right around 4 ounces. That seems to be about the right amount of fluff into this thing. Once we get the end once we get the end closed up, we'll try and mush it around and even out the load a little bit. But you don't want it too close to where you're about to sew, because it makes it getting in the sewing machine a little difficult. But all right, so as you can see right now, I just have it folded in and then pinned. And like I said, we're just gonna sort of keep that all together and sew right across. I'm gonna put it in the machine brown side up so it's easier to see the stitching. So now basically we're all done. It's got a little ugly here at the end, yeah, but it is what it is. It's not that easy to do this last bit because you're fighting all this stuffing. But now you just kind of work it around, try and get the stuffing into all the corners, and there you have it. It's not that hard, but that doesn't mean I'm very good at it. But I've made several of these, like I said, and probably none of them have been a work of art. But man, it makes a good pillow, especially in the hammock. Here you have it. Here's the finished product. What can I say about it? It's just a really nice size pillow for just filling a little void in the back of your neck when you're in the hammock. Works good in the car, an airplane or something. It stuffs reasonably well in your camping gear. There's not much to not like about it. So if you're into it, whip one up, and I'm sure you'll be happy with the performance of it. Thanks for watching.